Greetings and salutations, all you beautiful individuals. It is another episode of Liga Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys for a little bit of domestic power rankings, week 6/7, depending on the region. We're going to get through LEC, LCK, and LCS. And let me tell you, as we wrap up the regular season or near wrapping it up, we are really seeing through the mist now, who the frauds are, who the pretenders are, and who the real contenders are, and it's getting busy at the top of the LEC, and I think things changed quite a bit, and far and away the hardest league to rank now after this roadshow is over in Europe.
And we anticipated that might be the result that would play out, given the importance, given the matches that were on the schedule during this final roadshow for the LEC. No question that you're going to see that type of movement, that type of shakeup. And again, this is a very important, very good time to check in with all these regions, do these regional power rankings, because as you laid out, we're pretty much finishing, wrapping up, coming towards the end of the regular season at this point and shifting towards playoffs. So both of the things that you are kind of juggling as far as how you are evaluating, how you are prioritizing these teams is that part of going, okay, what have you accomplished so far? How many points can I put on the board for you in that regard? And how many do you envision gaining heading towards playoffs and the importance of these matches and everything else that comes with it? It's that weird hybrid mixture that is going to go into it. And that's where I think you can hold on to and look at this LEC rankings and see some of the reasonings of where we went.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing where you're going, okay, if you started playoffs right now today, based on this past weekend, G2 will forever be the squad to beat until somebody actually beats them, but felt still like the body of work that Vitality put throughout the entire split, it's not enough to take them out of that top spot, but KC going 1-2 is enough to take them out of that top spot, especially because how easily G2 kind of dismantled them in that head-to-head.
Yeah, the equation on this one is very much so what you have already done and valuing that and keeping that through and honoring that as Vitality and what you've accomplished this split and balancing that with, as you said, a missed opportunity, I think, for Carmine Corp in this last weekend and where things were primed and shaping up to be and what the record could be and how that would stack you up to a squad like Vitality and give you maybe that recency, little bias, little bump and boost over them, unable to come through and find the exact formula through. And I don't think it's simply an equation of going, well, you don't drop that series to Giant X, then we're throwing you right in that conversation. It would have to just have been that little bit more, a little bit extra. Very happy, though, that Vitality is able to weather the storm, partly due to their own accomplishments and partly due to the failures of everyone else in the LEC.
Yeah, and, the KC Giant X series, it's a bit of an egregious throw anytime you're losing a game with Hex Tech Soul, one of the two most busted souls in the game, and, that's... You're not really feeling that bad about Carmine Corp, even with a kind of flubby type of weekend. They get the win against KOI, even though that was an incredibly contested series. And again, you could argue maybe KOI should have won that one, maybe even in 2-0 fashion, which makes KOI kind of the hardest squad to rank here because they easily take care of Giant X, they drop to KC, and then they get the impressive win against G2. But when you, again, look at the whole body of work for the season, they've been the more inconsistent of these top four squads.
Right. It's one of these ones where I think you can't really, unless you are stretching things or bringing other teams or members down when you're looking at the rest of the LEC, find a way to put Movistar KOI in a higher position than where we have them right now. But as you laid out, that doesn't mean that you can write them off, disrespect them in any type of way when you move towards playoffs, because what you have seen from this team is that if you are at your very best, well, that very best is good enough to challenge almost anyone in this region at that point. Are you going to be at your very best? Are you going to be the sharpest? Is Jojo Pyun locked in going to give you those type of performances? Is Merwin bringing something crazy or different to the table and finding the angles where you are getting the benefits of that, unique pick in that top side? These are things that are going to matter a lot when you're looking at the playoffs for Movistar KOI.
And again, the reality is any of these top four, I don't think you're surprised if they can win the split. Maybe you're a little more surprised than others, but any one of the four have shown the level that they can do it. They all have some weak points or, some question marks still. Kana was a little suspect with the Brand and Cassiopeia mages in that top side. The bot lane of MKOI needs to be more consistent. It feels like game to game, you either get a super carry performance or a super duper flub performance. So they need the consistency there. You can talk about Humanoid for Vitality. He's going to need to be at that Jojo Pyun and Caps level for Vitality to compete. We did see the level up from Broken Blade this weekend, and that's why, if that's firing, G2 has the least weaknesses in terms of at least laners of all the top four.
Yeah, I think it's when it's going to be really the question of, well, you still probably, I don't know, maybe this is an individual one, bias, but whatever type of thing. You've probably got a couple of scars to remember from the boys of Vitality, or at least the guys that make up the main parts of that roster and where they maybe have let you down in the past or not delivered as expected in playoffs or certain important situations, that you can question that roster. You can't question what they have put through in the regular season, and that record is there. But you absolutely can have doubts or whatever about what you're going to see when the playoffs changes the environment and situation that you have to succeed in. You can't have that when you are talking about G2. And as you laid out, seeing the way that Broken Blade has played in the recent matches, I think that is absolutely one of those angles that you can build off of or bolster your confidence in them heading towards these playoff rounds.
And last look at this board, the biggest loser again of the weekend is actually probably Na'Vi, because you got this Giant X series win, and they did show, even though they kind of got gapped in the other ones, they showed up big time in that K series, and now all of a sudden, you're feeling like Giant X has a better chance of an upset into this top four than even Na'Vi does.
It's, you had these 3, 4, whatever you wanted to group at the very front of the LEC, and you felt at least that Na'Vi was just trailing behind them, lurking in the shadows, just waiting, picking up a couple breadcrumbs, following the trail. Except this is now where you get leapfrogged. You get passed over. Someone, taps you on the shoulder. Who's there? Oh, no. Oh, you missed it. You got passed by the old Giant X sweeping on in front of you before we look through these playoffs of all the teams that I think, again, outside of that main contender type of status, you move back down. What Giant X was able to do against Carmine Corp, yes, negatives on Carmine, positives on Giant X in that regard and what they were able to do.
And obviously, farewell to the bottom four in the LEC, who were basically eliminated about 3 weeks ago. And probably all of them will have some type of roster change coming into next year. Also in the LCK, we got some big shape-ups, and we're starting to see, I'm going to call it a top 3 defined, less so than a top 4, as we've had some floundering, to be generous, but at the very tippity top, it stays the same. Of course, Hanwha Life continues to smurf on the league, as Zeka is having one of his best seasons to date on any LCK roster, but we do get Gen G bumping in to that number 2 spot, 6 series wins in a row, and even more importantly, like 10 days ago or so, the tax stuff for Ruler was officially done, dusted, no real punishment. So obviously it feels like that's a cloud that has been lifted over this team.
Yeah, and I think that is certainly something that is going to be that outside X factor, whatever type of thing. And as you mentioned, dark cloud hanging over that you can now finally remove as a factor, as a whatever type of effect that is going on with this roster, specific to Ruler or to the extent that it was affecting everybody else, who knows type of thing. But it absolutely is one of those things that you can put in the rearview mirror, and that is a good sign for Gen G as you move towards serious business in the LCK. But having Hanwha Life, Gen G, T1, this is the expected destination for the LCK, what we've envisioned being at the very top. It has been a very curvy and unexpected, windy road to get here so far this year. But yes, that is the way it lays up, with Zeka really leading the charge out of everybody on that Hanwha Life team on why they are in the top spot this split in the LCK. You go to Gen G and you lay out, again, the series wins. The only asterisk there is, yes, the whole situation that was going on with Ruler, although that is something that, as time moves on, having it being resolved now is going to be less of a factor, hopefully. And then as well, you look at the way you're winning these games. That is more so the thing, I think, where you're giving a little bit of that extra pause when you're talking about the Gen G joining this, again, making up this trio at the very top. Kind of goes more so to paint that picture of just the difference of where Gen G and T1 are in joining this top three and getting back into this type of position, compared to where Hanwha Life has been in this position for the entirety of this second split, more or less, outside of